welcome to class. You're welcome to Marshall, and you're most welcome to lesson 4 on the poem Funeral Blues by W.H. Auden. We started off with the introduction in our first video, and we moved on to look at the theme or the central themes of grief, isolation, and despair. And then in the last class, we carried out detailed analysis of the first stanza, which comprises of lines 1 to 4. And then in this lesson, we'll be exploring lines 5 to 8, focusing on the speaker's demand for public grief. We'll discuss the hyperbolic nature of this request, such as airplane writing is dead in the sky, how possible that could be, I don't know, and analyze the symbolism of public mourning, as well as the use of literary devices like enjambment and meter variation. And of course, this is a class, and so I will share the learning objective with you, and thereafter the key terms for the class. So let's go there. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to analyze the speaker's grand public demand for grief in lines 5 to 8. You explore the hyperbolic nature of these requests and demonstrate your understanding of the use of symbolism in terms of the public grief. So we'll also delve into the literary devices used in this section, including enjambment and meter variation. I think this is more of a repetition of what I shared with you in the introduction. Here are the key words for lesson 4, and they include the word hyperbole, mourning, enjambment, meter variation, symbolism, and public grief. So these concepts are essential for understanding the emotional depth and literary techniques used in lines 5 to 8 of Funeral Blues by W.H. Auden. In lines 5 and 6, the speakers request something so grand and impossible. Yeah, impossible. It says, let aeroplanes circle mourning overhead, scribbling on the sky. The message, he is dead. This is an example of hyperbole, as the speaker's grief is so immense that they demand the entire world to bear witness to the loss, with aeroplane writing the message in the sky for all to see. Now, the use of airplanes symbolizes global and public scale of the mourning that the speaker desires. Maybe, who knows, is a person that was lost, a president. Even if he's a president, that is not possible. You couldn't possibly write that in the sky, but that's what the speaker is demanding in lines 5 and 6. Moving on to line 7 and 8, the speaker's public demand for grief becomes even more symbolic. The speaker asks for cripples round the white neck of the public dove. And the public dove is actually a symbol of peace. Those often associated with purity and hope are now marked for mourning. The speaker also asked for traffic policemen to wear black gloves instead of white, a formal gesture of respect for the deceased. So these symbols reflect the speaker's desire for visible public acknowledgement of grief and loss. Now let's take a closer look at the hyperbolic request in public grief. The speaker's grief is so overwhelming that only grand and exaggerated public display of mourning seems appropriate. The speaker requests for airplane writing messages in the sky, and for public figures like doves and policemen to wear symbols of mourning and all that. These are clear examples of hyperbole. So this demand reflects how intensely the speaker feels their laws and how they believe the world should stop and mourn alongside them. In lines 5 and 6, we see the use of enjambment. And in case you don't know, enjambment is the flow of idea from a preceding line of poem into the next line of poem. So we see the use of enjambment in line 5 and 6. It says, let aeroplane circle overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. So the message of, or the idea of aeroplane circling overhead flows on to the next line that ends it, like a sentence that started from the preceding line runs onto the next line. So enjambment can actually run into several lines, even into several stanzas, depending on the style and what the writer wants. But in this case, only these 2 lines for this stanza. Right, so the thought continues across the line break, reflecting how the speaker's grief overflows uninterrupted. The speaker generally follows iambic pentameter, but subtle variations in the meter help to convey instability of the speaker's emotion, creating a tension between form and feeling. So we are here torn between, should we stay put with the strict form of the iambic, or we should follow the dictates of our feeling, that is of his feeling or their feeling, depending. We don't know the gender of the writer, so it is safe for us to say they, them, their. I believe you understand that. Let's look at the symbolism of public mourning, such as doves with crepe balls and policemen with black gloves, which emphasizes the speaker's need for their grief to be recognized on a broad scale. Let everyone see it on a very broad public scale. This symbol, which typically represents peace and order, of course, the traffic warder represent order, are now marked for mourning, marked by the darkness of mourning. So this transformation reflects how grief can pervade all aspects of one's life, from the natural world to public order. This is where we're going to round it off for today. But as we wrap up today's lesson, I would like you one more time to reflect on this question. Don't forget, these questions you've been seeing in these videos are the typical questions you meet in your Cambridge IGCSE examination. So practicing how to answer them will give you upper hand when you get to the examination hall. And if you don't mind, you can actually answer this question and drop them in the comment section and let me see what you've done. And if I have the time, I'll respond to tell you what could be done better and whatever it is that needs to be done right. So, and the question is here, you can see it on the screen already. How does the speaker's use of hyperbole in the speaker's public demand for mourning reflect the depth of their grief? Think about how these exaggerated requests symbolize the speaker's intense need for the world to share in their sorrow. In our next lesson, we'll move on to the 3rd stanza. Are you ready? You can click on the next button to see that video. And don't forget, if what I'm doing here is serving a purpose, please remember to give me a thumbs up, share this video to everyone you think would need it, and don't forget to subscribe. Till I come your way again, you were onto Omashone. Do have a good day. See you in the next video. Bye for now.